What a weekend. How about that Game 7? That's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah,
I don't know of anything else that happened.
That was a funner part of Saturday/Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, fun series. But, yeah, if that was the only thing that I got to watch on Saturday, I'd be pretty satisfied with that.
That was, we're going to talk football, don't worry. In all seriousness, best World Series I've ever seen. I don't know if you get into the World Series minus the Braves. Absolute best World Series. And I know, and boy, oh boy, did I start to notice this. It was becoming a thing. I don't know if people are aware, all the players that played for Toronto, not necessarily Canadian, okay?
Sure.
Don't be mad at Toronto. I got it.
Yeah.
We've turned into bitter rivals with Canada here. I'm not going to go down the path of what's going on. Everybody knows if you pay attention. But it's not Toronto's fault that they have a bunch of Americans and Dominicans. And
Sabotage?
No, sabotage. Didn't think about it that way.
Just saying.
But I kind of found myself pulling, lost in what the Dodgers did and lost in how great the series was. Quite frankly, the Blue Jays gagged.
Yeah, they did. No, it looked like they were 4-3 in the top of the ninth.
Well, they're
inning.
up 3-1. Scherzer throws
3-1.
a ball game.
They blew that. And yeah, it looked like they were only a couple outs away from sealing the thing. And then Alejandro Kirk hits the game-tying home run, and you just kind of feel like the momentum had kind of shifted at that point. You had in terms of horrifying moments for a specific sports city, that play at the plate that was inches away from going in Toronto, that is going to live in infamy forever for Toronto sports fans.
He was out.
It was the right call.
He was out.
Yeah, but just how close that was to being safe was insane.
Yeah. And then did you see the video of the folks in Edmonton at the hockey game, at the Oilers game?
No, did they have it on the screen?
The announcer announced the Blue Jays have just won the World Series.
No. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Had to backtrack on that one, of course.
At what point of the game did he announce this?
It was third period, 2-1.
At what point of the baseball game did he announce it?
I think it timed out with he jumped the gun on thinking he was safe.
I see. Yeah. Ooh.
I think he jumped the gun on thinking he was safe at the plate. Initially, I thought he was safe at the plate.
Oh,
and
totally.
And
bang, bang play.
I might in my old age have jumped up and be like, he's made some noise. I don't know, some odd noise. But I was like, oh my goodness. And then as they showed the replay, I was like, yeah, that's the right call. It's the bang, bang play.
But just inches, man.
I think at that point I had found myself pulling for the Blue Jays. And then when the Dodgers win, I'm kind of like, man, we talked about this. I kind of like those guys.
You're not mad at it. Again, it's a good group of guys. Again, the brand of the Dodgers turns more people off than the players
fans,
themselves.
I think.
Yeah, and look, it's an impressive feat to go back-to-back. So you give them credit for that, and they've now won. And I know we don't count the COVID championships the same way, but you've won 3 championships in now the past 6 years. That's dynasty.
Yeah. Dave Roberts seems like a good coach. We love Freddie Freeman. Mookie Betts seems like a genuinely good guy. I mean, they got kind of characters all over the field, and we'll see. And now the Blue Jays, you just feel bad for them because you kind of watched, and the Dodgers are here to stay.
Oh, sure.
The Dodgers are back.
Yeah, but Toronto is can you get this far again?
Yeah, and there's already an article out. Vlad Guerrero Jr., I mean, this is where everybody's going to be like, well, of course, why not? Left Canada just one day after the World Series. Just get back home, go somewhere else, anywhere else. Maybe probably where it's warmer.
See? Sleeper agent.
So, anyway, that was the excitement of the weekend. And then we woke up Sunday morning and the excitement picked up. What's the bigger storyline? Sunday for South Carolina football or Saturday night?
Definitely Sunday.
You gonna go Sunday?
Saturday night, and shout out to the few people that did come out and watch the game with us out there at O'Hara's, your Troopers, because that was not a fun game to watch.
No, it wasn't.
In fact, after Sellers threw the pick with about 6 minutes to go, a couple people at the bar were chanting, "Turn it off, turn it off." So that's kind of where we're at this point. But those that came out there and hung out and interacted, appreciate you guys as always. But yeah, I came away from the game on Saturday thinking to myself, how are we going to discuss this game any differently than the past handful of losses that we've had, because it had all the same elements of the losses that Carolina's had up to this point, where offense didn't do its job. You had a couple of moments here and there, but not enough consistently. Defense made some mistakes, but ultimately did enough to keep you in the game in the fourth quarter, and then things just fell apart. Like, it's copy and paste from pretty much every other loss they've had this year. And I was like, man, how are we going to slice this up in a different way all day on Monday? And, well, then we found out Mike Shula was fired, and it's like, oh, never mind. That's what we're going to talk about.
I tweeted it in going into the fourth quarter, and we wanted to talk about this last week. Never really got to it in the manner that I wanted to get to it about South Carolina finishing games, but it was the fourth time this season. I mean, think about this. And, last night I heard the stat. I think the Chiefs last year, I believe this is right. I should have written it down because it would have fit perfectly for this. Last year, the Chiefs, I believe, were 12-0 in one-score games.
Because, like, all their wins were in one-score games.
They were, I believe, they were undefeated. I know that, and I want to say it was 12. I want to say it was 12-0.
Because they were winning games like crazy, ridiculous ways.
This year, they're 0-4.
Yeah.
They're 0-4 in one-score game. Good game yesterday with them in Buffalo, and I like that it came down to the final play. But it's the way the cookie crumbles. It's the way the ball bounces. It's the way things kind of break for you in a year in, year out basis. But you make the point, Saturday night was the fourth time this season that South Carolina has gone to the fourth quarter down by a touchdown or less or up. Now, they were down, and if you've listened to this program, you've listened to me for 9 years, you know that I love to brag and tell you when I'm right. I try to be humble. It doesn't work. I'm not humble. I'm not humble at all. I love to be right. I love to be right even when you want me to be wrong. I'm right. It's kind of like Colin Cowherd, and I don't like him. But my big spur write-up of the game, nailed it. And I mean nailed it. I had South Carolina 14 points going into the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
I said Mississippi would have 17, 20, or 21. I said it would be a one-score game.
Mm-hmm.
I said South Carolina's defense would break down in the fourth, give up some haymakers, and lose 31-14.
Okay.
A couple people hit me up on Twitter, was like, that's scary. And I was like, yeah, I got to go buy lottery tickets, but unfortunately, that's not my specialty.
But it's bad that you can predict that to happen.
And I said, you know what? I'll go ahead and prepare you, because I think there's going to be a rejuvenated offense. I don't know what it's going to look like. We'll get into that, not just today, but throughout the week. I think the offense is going to be rejuvenated because you're going to have Sean Elliott and Mike Furry calling plays, and I don't know what that's going to look like or how it's going to we have no clue. Like, you can't go in and put a brand new playbook in, but you can take what Mike Shula did, and you get a bye week, of course. You get the bye week, but you can take what Mike Shula did, and so we like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That stuff that he did where we bunch three guys up and we run it up the middle on 3rd and 4th and 1, and it doesn't work. Throw that bleeping stuff out of here. Get that out of here. It ain't working. And we're going to put this in. And you got 2 weeks to insert. I have no idea. Maybe we need to get Perry Orth or John Strickland or Brian Maddox or somebody on the phone and be like, hey, how quickly can you put up a set of plays, and what's the number of plays you can input into a lineup? I know it's up to your football IQ. There's many of you, you're brilliant people. You listen to this program. You're brilliant before you started listening. We just make you smarter. But there's a lot of brilliant people out there that's like, I can pick up 20 plays, coach. Throw 20 plays at me. Well, college kids aren't you.
Yeah.
College kids got a lot of other things going on.
And you have limited amount of time to work with them throughout the week compared to like the pros or whatever. So you have to squeeze in as much substance in a short period of time to make sure they're up on everything, which, again, you're still working within the parameters of your own offensive staff. So it's not like, all right, hey, guys, we're going to start running the triple option against A&M. Like, it's not that. It's
not
still the same offense.
Not our knowledge.
No,
just,
maybe you have a wrinkle here or there, but it's largely the same offense. At this point, you're just guiding it to the end.
Well, like I said, you're picking Sean Elliott. And we don't know. I couldn't even start to explain Mike Furry's, and we got so much to get to, and I'm not trying to like spend it all in the A block, but I don't think we know Mike Furry's offensive philosophy. Like, does he? And let's just start with this. Let's just start with the simple concept of bunching them up or spreading them out. I mean, let's just simply start there. And then we'll work to everything out.
Yeah.
And I say that because if you're like me, maybe you're not, perfectly fine with that. A little bit different. When they get bunched up, I want to scream. I don't scream because I'm 43 and I've grown past that. 21-year-old Bill would have just screamed at the TV sitting in college.
Fair.
After 17 liquor drinks and just probably thrown the drink at the bunching up of an offensive and on fourth and shorts, on third and fourth and short, when you bunch an offense and you got to go 2 yards, I want to throw stuff. I don't anymore. Again, Tyler, I don't know where you're at in your life.
I'm pretty mellow.
With it, you are mellow. I'm trying to get your blood pressure up to match mine.
If we watch games together, I'd definitely be the more subdued one.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Mine's outburst now. I have slight outburst, but anyway, we'll talk about that because to me, that's the very beginning of the whole concept. Whatever you go from there, however you go from there, for all that's holy, spread them out. Open it up.
Yeah.
That way you're not putting everything on an offensive line who, for some reason, I put a text out to a group text midway through the third quarter. I was hey, I think the offensive line's playing better. Just steps. And then they start getting just drilled by a two-man rush, and I'm I don't know if I'm right. And then Boaz Stanley, poor Boaz. And I don't know if he's getting NIL money. I don't want to, but my goodness. There's a play, and I don't know if Louis Riddick, re-narrating the play, said Boaz Stanley stinks, and he used a different word. You probably couldn't hear it because you were at O'Hara's.
I watched the game back yesterday.
Okay, you did. Do you know what play I'm particularly talking about? The fourth and...
I think I do.
Did he say...
I think you said something about him. I can't remember what he said.
He was doing it out of the voice of the defensive lineman.
Yes.
Not
Right.
But the way he said it, I didn't rewind it. I did DirecTV this weekend. I went to DirecTV.
Okay, so you did.
We'll review that too.
Okay, yeah.
I'll review DirecTV. We're on the 5-day trial. I think day 3. We got a lot to get to. We got offensive coordinator discussion. We got the future of this program discussion. I put the tweet out on Saturday night. I don't care. You can say what you want. It's going to be the 3rd season with at least 6 losses.
Yes, that's correct.
It's going to be the 3rd season with at least 6 losses out of 5. I'm not going to pick them to beat Texas A&M unless something crazy happens in the next 2 weeks. They're going to miss a bowl game for the 2nd time in 3 years. We're going to talk all about that. There's a lot to get to, and you probably have opinions. You probably have a lot of them. Text them, call, I don't care, whatever you want to do to get in touch with us. 803-404-6100. Drive down, hold up a sign on the door behind us and yell at us.
Or drive by and honk if you agree.
Yeah, there you go. 803-404-6100. You're listening to Tyler Head, producer Ed Bird.
Ed's in on Mondays.
Thank you. Listen, I can barely remember our guest schedule at this point. Still learning. It's Bill Gunner. It's the Halftime Show. 12:20 on your Monday, the first Monday of November. How you feel? Monday of November.
I feel pretty good. Wish we had fun things to talk about, but all in all, no complaints. Halloween, fun, ate a lot of candy. I think our costumes were a hit on Friday in here. Seemed to get some good reception from that.
Yeah, forgot. Sadly, had already forgotten about that. The pickle is still in the car. Could throw that back on here. Maybe to.
You inspired me to buy a jar of pickles yesterday at the store, by the way.
Yeah.
Which I love pickles anyway, but I was like, you know what? I'll get these.
I do pride myself on being an inspiration, not always for the best of things, but I do. That is a pride that I carry with me. So there's a lot of directions we'll go throughout the day. Jamie Bradford will join us coming up in the 2 o'clock hour. Let's start with the game.
Okay.
I'll start with just the overall game. And I said there's a lot of directions because one of the directions I do want to go is like, I'm not saying are you invested in the season again, but do you feel better? Did you feel better yesterday? Do you feel better today? And I hate to do this because Mike Shula is a human being.
Yes, that's the element of people getting fired that we gloss over. That's still a person, a dad, husband. He
is a well-compensated, fired human being. He will not go back to having to figure out how to purchase groceries.
You're not going to find him at the soup kitchen.
All right. Yeah, he's covered. He's fine. And there's that part too. But do you feel better? And I kind of hate this because the human being element. But do you feel better about South Carolina now? Because I think some people don't. That Mike Shula is not there. Some people are already saying, well, Shane Beamer doing the picking of the OC. Why in the world should we believe that he's going to get it right this way? We'll come to that. Let's get that. That is a big topic. That's going to be a big topic probably for hour number 2.
And I understand where people come from with that because 2 out of the 3 really haven't worked. And like again, Dow Loggins wasn't like a out of the park home run hire. Like again, things got better as the season went along last year, but nobody is going to accuse him of being, the greatest offensive coordinator college football's ever seen, but better than the other 2 in terms of Satterfield and Mike Shula. So I can understand where people are coming from with that. I can find comfort in the fact that something was done, right? And look, okay. I had the belief that this wasn't going to happen until the season was over because I didn't know who you were going to turn to within your offensive staff to call plays. So I thought, all right, they're just going to ride out the season knowing that a change was going to be made. And we can get into the individual moments in the game where Beamer was really frustrated with Mike Shula. That could have been kind of the final straw in terms of everything that happened this year, as well as Sellers' god-awful performance playing in the game, his worst in a Gamecock uniform, probably by far. But and
that's what I said. Let's go to that. We'll get to the other. There's a lot. There's so much to unpack.
But again, I can find comfort knowing that something's being done that hopefully will lead to positive change. Again, we're going to have a whole conversation about who they're going to hire, candidates and all that kind of stuff, and ultimately they're going to settle on someone, and we'll break that down when that time comes. But for the moment, you had an issue, you addressed the issue, much like the offensive line, and at least in the moment, you're making a step towards making it better.
So the big picture of the game, because out of the big picture comes the snapshots of, as you mentioned, Lenore Sellers, some play of the defense. Nick Harbor has a monster drop to start the game. Special teams decided to not play on Saturday night. But the big picture of the game, and we kind of started it once again this year, the defense bends, it never breaks. Well, it doesn't break until the fourth quarter. It reminds me of 90s Gamecock football, and that's a little unfair, but it reminds me of 90s Gamecock football, where the depth was there and the ability was there for 3 quarters. And then in the 90s, a lot of times there were so many close games through 45 minutes of football, and then the better teams, especially Georgia and Tennessee and Florida, and you'd run into an Alabama or an Auburn or whomever, would be more deep. And that fourth quarter would come along, and sure enough, you get outscored by maybe 10 or maybe 14, and you lose a game.
Mm-hmm.
And you do, I don't know how radio shows worked back in the 90s. Phil Kornblue told, he can tell you. But I would assume that I would assume that people would call in and be like, we're so close.
Sure.
We're so close. Well, now you've experienced success for the better part of 25 years since Lou Holtz arrived, and you're used to winning close games like that. You are used to pulling out games. There's plenty of examples I could go through, and there's plenty of examples of close losses as well. But there's plenty of examples of pulling out games late in the game because South Carolina did, through Lou and through Steve, build depth. But right now, again, it's the fourth time this year that South Carolina was in a game within a score or up. They're 0-4. It was the fifth time this year that they held an opponent, the defense held an opponent under 20 points. Oklahoma only had 17 going to the fourth quarter, and 17 points should give you a chance. And in that game, you were down 10, and you're not. By the way, we'll cover big picture college football. I don't care what else happened this weekend. Tennessee losing to Oklahoma is the upset of the weekend. But you see my point. Like, it feels, Tyler, for a 43-year-old me, I've seen this story before in my lifetime with Gamecock football, and I think it's very fixable for Shane Beamer. One is with the offense, and one is they're actually going to have to recruit better. And I'll tell you what, more money is going to have to come into this football program from the fans and NIL. And fans are going to go, well, we're doing a lot. You're doing enough. You're doing enough. You're not doing enough. Or excuse me, you're doing enough. You're not getting. I go back to that number we heard at Mississippi where last week they raised to keep Lane Kiffin. Would South Carolina do this? No, they wouldn't. Would South Carolina be able to raise $30 million in 10 days to keep a coach that they really needed for NIL money? No, I've been around here long enough. No, it wouldn't have. Getting to $5 million would be some kind of chore.
And this is where you get to such an interesting crossroads because you're right. You do need even more investment from the fans to guarantee you're going to get high-level talent and guarantee you're going to be able to keep up with everybody else. But rightfully so, fans are going to look at the product and say, well, I'm not investing in that. So you're at that weird crossroads of like, you need them to invest, but they're not getting enough on the field to want to. And how do you figure that out? That's not my job, but I don't envy the person, Jeremiah Donati, in the position to figure that out.
I don't care. I said it last week. You have the stomach to deal with it. You absolutely have the stomach to deal with it. You're not going to win. Florida State, you got to have the stomach. And you know what? Vanderbilt's having their 1 year. Georgia Tech's having their 1 year. South Carolina had their 1 year last year. It looks like Vanderbilt and Georgia Tech, I don't know. I know Georgia Tech's now only got one loss, but they lost the other night. I don't know if they're going to make the college football playoff. Vandy has now got 2 losses. I don't know if they're going to make the college football playoff because Harry weighs in and says, we're not giving as much as Vandy, Georgia Tech. Look, Indiana's an anomaly right now as to what they're doing.
Well, I look. Can we just go ahead? Kurt Cignetti is a better coach than all these other
apparently is like
all these other coaches that we're talking about here.
But when people say like, well, what are these other schools doing? They're doing the same thing South Carolina did last year. They're having a year. Get back to me. Ask me that question again if they go 5 straight years. Don't ask me today because they're having a year. Kudos to them. You know who had a year last year? South Carolina did.
Yep, they did.
Let me look at Mississippi, who you read last week is what, like 10 wins in the last 3 seasons?
Yeah, it's pretty low.
They got 9 wins.
They had the first, they've been consistently 9 or 10 wins under Kevin. Haven't got to the playoff yet. That's probably going to happen this year, but yeah, consistent.
Yeah, don't give me the school who's having 1 year right now because South Carolina did that last year. They did that last year. That was apparently last year was South Carolina's year. But there's so much to get to with that. And yes, a lot of it starts with, I'm sorry, more money has to go into the program. And if you don't like losing, I don't blame you for not giving money. But guess what? Don't ask for more. Don't ask for more than 6 wins right now. That's where football's at, and it sucks.
It's that balance, unfortunately, and one side is unfortunately weighing more than the other right now.
We'll break down some of the actual game. I'm all fired up now. I ate before I came in here. I've had coffee and just fired up. Slept great. Feel great. Feel absolutely great. It's a beautiful day. We'll do the C block when we come back, and we'll talk about the game. It's the halftime show. I'm gonna. I'm gonna get to. I'm going to get to all these texts because I want to hear you, but I like these texts when they come in. First texter, Bill, you're exactly right. Carolina is almost exactly where they deserve to be. It says, I think if you collate payroll to ranking, sadly, the oil and gas schools will continue to further separate themselves. Texas Tech, SC, and Clemson are being left hoping for reform or raising money. Lee, thank you, Lee. I like this text. You were doing a subpar job at WNKT. That makes me feel better. I didn't think I was doing a very good job at all, quite frankly.
But subpar?
I'm happy.
All right.
Makes me feel pretty good. He asks if they're going to give me a raise. No, they're not. He says, I hear what you're saying about the program needing more money, but to ask it in the downturn we are currently in is not going to happen. That's fine.
Yeah. Well,
don't give more. Don't. You shouldn't.
And that's the point I brought up, because you're at this interesting crossroads where, yes, you need more money to be invested from the fan base to make some of these issues a lot better. But again, most people, rightfully so, we're going to look at the tangible product and say, well, it's not worth my money. And again, it's this like immovable object versus unstoppable force, where you have to have coalition between the two, but it's impossible to get more money if your product's not. And not only that, you're going to be asking people to pay more for season tickets next year with the upgrades to the stadium and all those kind of things. So again, it's just you're in a really rough place right now.
No, you're not.
Trying to figure this out.
No, you're not. And I'm sorry. And I get it. I understand. And I'm not. And I really do appreciate Lee, because he says, I enjoy listening to y'all show every day. You do a great job. Keep up the good work. But he goes on to say, I'm a lifelong follower of the Gamecocks and go to all the home games and some games. I think he means some road games. But I'm to the point in my life where I'm not going to spend any more than I already am. And you know what?
Yeah.
It's fine.
And again, it's your money. You're entitled to spend it how you want.
I got 2 kids. One's about to go to college. The daughter's a problem. Needs more money than I make. Do radio.
So that's teenagers in general.
Yeah. I got it. There's bills. There's things. I'm sorry. And another texter says, no way fans are paying more money as they're getting kicked out of their seats. Big donors, yeah. We put 20,000 more in the stands than Ole Miss. Maybe we just need a better board. You know what? And that's the point. Look, coaches, ADs, they've all come through this program. Multiple coaches, multiple ADs. One thing stayed consistent, the fans.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, they're good you're good fans. I'm not. Alabama game, the turnout and everything was phenomenal. The atmosphere was incredible. This isn't a criticism of the fans, but it is a realization of where we are in today's world in college football. And quite frankly, and he's right, Mississippi's not better than South Carolina. Mississippi doesn't have better resources or better fans or. No, I'm sorry. That's like whatever you're ponying up, it's probably not enough. It's not enough. I mean, South Carolina couldn't come up, we all know this, couldn't come up with $49 million to fire a coach like Penn State did with James Franklin. They wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be stuck with it. We complained about getting the money to fire Will Muschamp.
How much was that?
15.
Okay.
15 or 16. I think it was 15. I want to say 16, but
that was
I think
during
it was 15.
The COVID year.
Yeah. You think we'd come up with $54 million to fire our coach, Brian Kelly? No.
They're still negotiating that.
Supposedly. Negotiation's hard when the coach has the leverage.
Yeah.
We'll come back to it. I want to get to the game. We go to the phone lines. A couple of y'all want to weigh in. Barry, talk about the game, buddy. How you doing, Barry? Thank you for staying on hold, and I appreciate the phone call.
Fine, Bill.
Good to hear from you.
You got it, brother. Same here. You're pretty much right on 100%. And you know what? I believe it's like from the water boy to the AD at this point. I guess from what I've heard, Shula's been fired. But, to be ranked in points, number 123 in the country, to be ranked in yards a game, number 125 in the country, to be ranked in points in play, 122 in the country, to be ranked yards in play, 125 in the country, to be ranked third down conversions, 117th in the country, and to rank fourth down conversions, 89%, and red zone scoring, 109%. I think it's more than just the offensive coordinator. Okay, we talked about development here. Sellers doesn't seem to be developing. He seems to be digressing. For his safety, like you said, you're talking about money. Supposedly he was an $8 million man, or he needs to go to the league to save his life so he can live to play in the league. It's going to be tough to keep Dylan Stewart here, in my opinion. Harbor should be gone, too, because he hasn't learned to do anything here. It's wasted. We had 3 freaks here, and it's just not happening. So, I agree with you. This shouldn't be tolerated. The fans are great. The fans show up. It is about money. They needed to save the $7 million instead of buying out Maneri to keep Hollins and a couple of the baseball players. But it's a deep, deep, deep situation that runs much further than the AD and the offensive line coach. Very deep situation. And I'll end with this. Bill, I think you'll agree, because I've heard you mention these numbers before. You're talking about we had supposedly a generational quarterback in Spencer Rattler for 2 years who is 13 and 12 here, correct? And now we have, again, supposedly a local generational quarterback. And if you add the 2 years together, see what Beamer has done with 2 generational quarterbacks for 4 years in a row. And I think the record at this point in time is about 25 and 21. And I'll leave it at that.
Appreciate the phone call, Bear. It's and good to hear from you again, man. Don't be a stranger. Let's stay on the phone lines. Ty wants to talk about the game. Ty, how you doing? We got about 2.5 minutes, buddy. Go ahead.
Gotcha. Make it real quick. I don't think it has anything to do with money at all. I think it's pretty much the new age football as far as they're putting too much on the coaches. You want them to develop them, keep them, recruit, and then come up with the game plans and whatnot. I just don't believe in this day and age that one person and I know that he has a team, but if you look at it, a lot of people is not developing. If you look across the league when it comes to quarterbacks, all the top quarterbacks that are supposed to be the best quarterbacks, nobody's been developed that well. I think it's got a lot to do with how the structure of the new system is, and I believe that people are becoming impatient because they are spending money, and that's not going to help anything if you keep firing and restarting the program, just like LSU getting rid of their coach. I understand they're used to a certain standard, but who are they going to bring in that's going to be LSU in the old times when the system that was in place back then was not even here? So that's my only 2 cents about it.
Okay. I appreciate the phone call. But to bring somebody in that's quality, you're going to have to pay right now, and I think this is where we all hope it changes, to bring in quality. What you just said. Not some dude, not John Summerall, and I know he lost this weekend, not Willie Fritz from Houston or Kalani Sitake from BYU, who I don't know. I don't know what he would command, but you're talking $10 million.
For a head coach. Yeah.
So a good one. What you want is simply $10 million. Let's hit a break so we don't crush our thought.
That's
and we'll come back and we'll wrap up the hour with this. A lot of y'all are texting in. I want to get to those because I want to give you your opinion, whether you want to criticize me, the program, Shane Beamer, Mike Shula, the mascot. I got it, man. There's a lot to discuss on this program, on this football team where we sit on the 3rd day of November. You're listening to the Halftime Show.
Yeah, he's giving us a chance to win. I mean, there was some, like always, John, there's plays he would like to have back. There's some, sacks, just looking at it on the iPad on the sideline that, we could have probably helped the offensive line out a little bit by stepping up, in the pocket at times. But then there's times that we're just, getting beat up front, too. When we got 2 guys on a guy and we get sacked on whatever it was, 3rd or 4th down there in the 4th quarter. And, so there's, like all of us, there's decisions I'd like to have back. There's plays he'd like to have back, all of us. But, Lenora Sellers gives us a chance to win football games each and every week. And we as a coaching staff got to continue to do a good job of helping our players be their very best.
We'll address that because that was a big part from Saturday night, Tyler. And there were several open throws, opportunities from Lenora Sellers that, look, I'm not absolving Mike Shula. Mm-hmm. There was also there was some interesting play calls still. But there were throws, a couple in particular, that should have been made.
Sure.
That actually do change. Look, let's be clear about this in terms of the game. You didn't get Mississippi's A performance.
No.
You didn't get Trinidad Chambliss's A performance. You got Mississippi. I was hesitant to call it this way, but kind of like Alabama, the difference was Alabama was coming to Williams-Brice Stadium, and I thought, and they did, it was going to be this phenomenal atmosphere, and it was going to play a role in it. And it did, and South Carolina had every opportunity in the world and blew it, okay? But Alabama was coming off a 4-game stretch of ranked games. Mississippi was coming off of an incredible stretch of games.
Yep.
And they looked like a team who was just worn out, like just worn out. You got, I don't know, the B- version of Mississippi on Saturday night.
And they probably knew their B- game would be good enough to beat Carolina, and they kind of, again, let them hang around through 3 quarters, and then were able to finally pull away in the 4th. Like, it wasn't their best game by any means, but, again, your opportunities were there, and you couldn't capitalize.
And you mentioned the stat, Trinidad Chambliss going into the game had only put the ball, I believe, and however they deem it, jeopardy.
3 times.
3 times, and the interception he throws goes to show you Lane Kiffin's a more calm coach now, because that was one of the most ridiculous interceptions. Just because of the stats of Trinidad Chambliss, don't worry. Lenora Sellers came back and had his own just like that in this situation. But the bottom line was you didn't get the performance from – you got the performance from Mississippi you needed to have a chance to win the football game. But the performance of Lenora Sellers – and I'm not all on him, okay? It's not. Be very, very clear. The defense, while I love the way the defense played, made mistakes, okay?
Sure.
They made mistakes. The offensive line is still very, very, very much a work in progress. The special teams, quite frankly, so it is what it is, but that is something with your guy, and I hate to say this, but it's the truth in today's world of college football. We would not have said this 5 years ago. We would have never said this. I would have never said this on air. Lenora Sellers is making $4 million a year. It's 8 over 2 years, okay? You don't miss those throws. I'm sorry. Like, it's one thing to have a bad throw. It's one thing to have it happen once. You don't pay your quarterback $4 million to miss the – I'm sorry. That's very critical, but it is fact. If we're paying players now and they're going to command high dollar or they're going to transfer on you, it simply doesn't happen.
Yeah. What he did Saturday was inexcusable. And again, he had the one shot to Nick Harbor, but that was pretty much it. But yeah, missing guys, overthrowing them, throwing at their feet, throwing behind them, throwing in front of them. It's just and we've seen that sporadically throughout the season so far. We're just missing on some of the deeper stuff, but even some of the check down stuff was just like, where are you throwing that ball to? And again, at the end of the day, that does come back to reflect on Shula, because he's the one that's supposed to develop him and get her to the point. But Sellers does have to go out there and execute on those plays, and he just was not doing that anywhere close to good enough on Saturday. And again, you're still in the game.
Yeah.
With all that being said, you still had your opportunities in the fourth quarter.
He still makes some plays here and there.
He still did. It wasn't a complete nothing game for him because he still did make some plays. But, yeah, some of those routine things that we think he is good and consistent with just weren't there on Saturday. And maybe you chalk it up to just a bad game. I don't know. But that was by far his worst game as a Gamecock.
No, I mean, again, there was a particular throw. I don't know. There was one prior to the really ugly one to Vandrevius Jacobs that simply can't happen. But there was one prior where you had Brian Rowe running a crossing route and Vandrevius Jacobs running a deep route, and both were actually open. And the pass somehow sailed over Brian Rowe's head and landed at the feet of Vandrevius. So, and you could kind of see the body language of Vandrevius Jacobs to be like, who was that for? Was it supposed to be for Rowe or for me? Like, that's the world we live in now with college football, and Lenore Sellers, unless there's something going on we don't know about, is the best chance for South Carolina to win a football game. I know a lot of people are starting to call for Cutter Woods. I don't think that's the strategy. Lenore Sellers is the guy, but
it's bad we're having to have that conversation.
It's where we are. We got 2 more hours.
It's all right here for our friends over at Tilly's Warehouse, the first wine and spirits store in 5 Points in the past 20 years. Whether you're getting set for your next tailgate, family outing, or just hanging out at home, you can go down to Tilly's and get everything that you need for a fun night, fun weekend, or a fun trip. Tilly's has pretty much everything you could want. G4 Tequila, they've got that. Garden and Black Vodka, they've got that as well. High Noon Sun Cruisers by the case, or you can buy them by the cash register on your way out the door. They've got those too. Anything that you need for that fun weekend or night in, they've got you covered. If you mentioned that you heard this ad, by the way, on 107.5 The Game, you can get 10% off any wine selection as well. They're locally family-owned and operated, located on Green Street, right behind the Salty Nut Cafe. You can stay connected with them on Instagram and Facebook, or visit their website, TillysWarehouse.com, for more information and discover why Tilly's is your new must-visit spot over in 5 Points.
It is 1 o'clock on November the 3rd. When do you officially buy your turkey? Do you try to? Is it like Christmas presents? And by the way, is this like Christmas present month? Do you try to get out ahead of the game on the presents? You don't have kids.
I don't. No.
So
I'm glad you brought this question up. I am a holiday in order type of person. I like to address one holiday at a time. Last week I was in the dollar store and they had Christmas stuff out. I'm like, oh, no.
oh my gosh.
Halloween, then Thanksgiving, then Christmas. I will say in the month of November, I will start buying some things for Christmas gifts or off Amazon or stuff like that because you have a lot of things to get. So doing it all in the last month can be a little overwhelming there. But I like to attack one holiday at a time. My focus right now is on Thanksgiving coming up in 3-4 weeks, whenever that is. I'll address that, enjoy that, and then it's like, okay, now we're going to turn our attention to Christmas. I love Thanksgiving. It's my favorite holiday because you don't have to buy gifts. You just eat, watch football, and enjoy family time, which is phenomenal. We
buy myself gifts.
And then we move on to Thanksgiving. And like I have, because my wife and I are both from Georgia, so we go home for Thanksgiving. So I've never been in a position to buy the turkey, so I don't really know what the time frame on that is. I'm assuming within, I don't know, a week or two of Thanksgiving actually happening. I can ask my dad because he's the one that usually cooks it. But yeah, I'm the one that eats it. I don't cook it.
Okay. All right. 803-404-62. I'm going to get to all these, Jeff, Buddy, Jay, Tony, and a bunch of you. And I want you to have your opinion. We're not going to hide anything. Everybody's allowed to an opinion, whether it's on me, as Lee did, or Tyler. You can also criticize Tyler, too. Yeah, don't be afraid of him.
Feel free. I can take it. I got thick skin. And again, look, I'm not from here. I didn't grow up in the Gamecock fandom necessarily, so I can't speak to some of the same things that you can or a lot of the people that are listening and chiming in. But it is interesting kind of hearing people's take on this in terms of where the program's been and trying to make it better, but also understanding that they're not seeing what they need to see to warrant investing in it.
So we'll get to that in a second. But again, when do you purchase your turkey? Like should I go? Normally in the past, I feel like I've waited, but then my selection is down. Maybe I'll head over to Old Timey Meat Market this afternoon and find out with them.
Now, do you fry? How do you do your turkey?
We smoke it.
Okay.
And last year used a cranberry barbecue sauce. I put a picture out. I put a picture out on Twitter on Saturday afternoon. I did not cook it then. I was lazy, but it looked delicious. It made me happy. At 4 o'clock, it made me happy while I was eating pizza. Anyway, all right, there's a lot that we're digging into. Some of it is my opinion. Some of it is what has occurred. You bring it up. Jay and I are the two Columbia guys.
Yes.
Jay's a little bit older. I think Jay's 54. He's got me by 11 years. But we're the two Columbia guys. We're the two true Carolina guys on the station. Preston's from Somerville and played football here, so he's got a different opinion in how he sees things and what he's going to say. Jay and I are the two guys on this station that are from Columbia that could talk about games in the 80s and the 90s that we've seen, that we've been at. We can talk about the program back then. And, of course, my recollection really gets going 92 with being at the Carolina-Georgia game, the first SEC game, being at the South Carolina-Tennessee game, when Hank Campbell got the stop on Halloween back in 92. I've seen stuff through the years. I was actually, for some reason, and I think he comes in today, and I've already forgotten the question, but I was going to ask, is it Mondays, right? No, it's Tuesdays, that Ryan Brewer comes in.
Yeah, Brews Days.
And I want to ask him something about the 99 offense, because one of the things that's not could be in my opinion, but one of the things that is discussable is, and I say this jokingly and also not jokingly for a lot of you that have watched South Carolina football, like, again, as I mentioned, Jay and I, you don't know much about this, Tyler. The 99 South Carolina offense, Lou Holtz's first year, and they played 6 quarterbacks: Phil Petty, Kevin Sides, Kyle Crabb, Mikel Goodman. There was 6. I don't know who the other 2 were. There were 6. If you can name the other 6, you get a T-shirt from 107.5 The Game. Sides, Crabb, Goodman, Mikel Goodman, a freshman against Mississippi. and Phil Petty played, and there's 2 others that played that year. Anyway, that offense was absolutely atrocious. There was injuries. Don't look it up. You already got a T-shirt.
Well, I was trying to help you out.
You already have multiple 1075 The Game T-shirts. Anyway, that offense was atrocious. But they actually played better as the year went along. Defense played better. The Florida game, I think even the Clemson game, they were kind of in. But they went 0-11. But there was reasons behind that. This year is not the reasons behind what it is. But I think this is the offense. The stat that they showed that I had heard, and for some reason I didn't want to allow it to register in my brain, is that South Carolina is the only team in college football in the FBS. 136 freaking teams. 136. South Carolina is the only football team with a dude who's supposed to be a top 10 pick, with a dude who we're talking about potentially being drafted in Nick Harbor, with other dudes who we think, look, when it happens, could get drafted. Whenever it happens. And you're the only team who has not had 350 yards of offense this year.
That was not that we're surprised, but that was alarming to see that you're the only one.
What do you mean not that we're surprised? It's shocking.
Well,
it is stunning. It is embarrassing.
I guess the surprising part is nobody else is in that category either. It's like you think,
you know
okay,
how hard that is?
I know. It's like, okay, you got to think there's some other bad offenses out there, Kent State or whatever, that wouldn't have eclipsed that. But yeah, you're the only one that is not. Okay, you didn't do it on Saturday. It didn't even come close.
No, you had 197 with, 3 minutes to go?
Yeah. 300, no.
It was 197. It took one of the final passes to get to 206.
Yep.
And to be honest, I don't know what they finished with when it was all over.
It was just a smidge over 200.
It was at 206 at a point.
230, actually.
Oh, they got
still, you're
caught fire.
Not even close to 350.
But, that's part, and that's fact. And now you've got an offensive coordinator change. And the question to me becomes, okay, what can Sean Elliott do and Mike Frey do? I will say this for Mike Shula. There were plays designed and drawn and some changes. The jet sweep with Matthew Fuller is a quality play, and it's essentially a triple option play.
Yep.
You can hand it to Fuller, you can hand it to the running back or Sellers. I guess, yeah, basically there's so many options. There's things that a defense has to account for. Fuller's going across. Fuller has become running back number 1. Okay, dude has a chance to be good if you can continue to improve the offensive line and he can take steps in the offseason. And by the way, if you can hold on to him.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be some teams who see him and like, he would be a good little RB2 here. He's good. But he comes across and he's pretty much picking up yards on the actual jet sweep play. They've had success when they've run that. And they've handed it to Faison up the middle because you know what? You move the defense.
Mm-hmm.
It's worked. It's opened a few times. Sellers very rarely has kept it, but on the times he has, he's normally picked up an average of 4 yards. So that little play is good. The fake handoff to the left or right and rolling Sellers back the opposite direction with the tight end sliding over under. While to me being slightly overused and now not so much of a catch him off guard play anymore, is a quality play. The problem is I just was able to name 2. And there's a few more. But the bottom line is there was no creativity. Lord knows everybody in the stands knows what they were going to do if it was 3rd and 2 or any shorter. You knew exactly what was going to happen too. So what is Sean Elliott and Mike Furry going to do that worked? What are they going to do that eliminates the stuff that isn't even close to working? And there's a lot more of that. And then my first question, are they going to go to more of a spread out offense? Because when your offensive line can't block, well, Lord knows, don't put 8 guys standing in the box.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I'm in a good mood. Surprisingly.
Yeah. No, it's
fired up.
It's fair questions to ask. And again, they're both former head coaches at obviously a little bit lower level, but it can't really.
Sean Elliott's been here.
Yeah, he has.
He's worked with Steve Spurrier, And I don't know who ran his offense at Georgia State, but I do know this. At Georgia State, they were constantly one of the best running offenses in the country.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, we forget he's the running game coordinator here, so
Yes.
he's involved in the at least game planning process of this offense.
He was some
at least
way,
has
some
been.
way, who knows to what extent.
Now, with two people that, to my knowledge, haven't specifically called plays, you worry about game flow, which again Mike Shula himself struggled with. So that's an area that's going to be interesting to see how they play that. But again, you're to the point where like it really can't get worse. So go out there, try something, and see if it works. And again, you're just kind of limping to the end of the season at this point anyway. You're likely not holding on to one of those guys to be your offensive coordinator next year anyway. So you're just trying to get through the end of the year and then go out there and make a different hire in the offseason. So again, why not throw something at the wall and see what sticks? And maybe you can figure something out for next year. Who knows?
We'll get into. I mean, there's so much to get into today, and Tyler draws up a kind of a play sheet for us, and I'm completely stomping all over it.
On a day like today, it's understandable.
Because again, there's so much. So, when we get into this coaching search, I'll say this. This is my opinion. This is Bill Gunner's opinion. It's not Tyler Heads. It's not Ed Bird, Captain Dave. It's not Terry Ford or Jay Phillips or Preston Thorne or anybody. Elijah K. This is Bill Gunner. Okay, if you're gonna, don't when I say what I'm gonna say, you don't put 107.5 the game. You put Bill Gunner said this. This is what he thinks. I think the offensive coordinator call will come from Shane Beamer and Sean Elliott. I think Sean Elliott, and you look at me because I was listening to y'all right as I was coming, I think it was Wes, was saying something to the effect of normally an offensive coordinator likes to bring his offensive line coach because the scheme, you see, so forth and so on. My opinion, don't have fact, I don't have inside sources, I'm telling you my opinion on this. But I truly believe this will happen, and I would wager money on it, that Sean Elliott's going to have a call in this. Mike Furry might not be back next year. Markel Blackwell might not be next year. You got to find a tight end coach.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that tight end coach might end up being Sean Elliott. I don't know. I think Sean Elliott has a call in this, and here's why. Sean Elliott likes the system that needs to be run at this program. So I think Sean Elliott can look around at coaches he sees that deems the system that he thinks is successful that was run with G.A. Mangus and himself and Steve Spurrier and I guess Spurrier Jr. and go, that coordinator. Because you're not getting Kendall Briles.
No.
Kendall Briles, we all know, all of you are already putting on there. Beamer, most of you are not willing to give Beamer another year, but Beamer's getting I guess, barring an absolute something going catastrophic here, like a 63-17 Clemson game, Beamer's getting another year, but it's not going to be a secret that Beamer's on a hot seat next year.
Yeah, going into next year, yeah.
So I can see a scenario where Sean Elliott is looking at what we will have to deem under-the-radar guys going, he runs what I know, and we can mesh together to run a college-esque spread system. That's my opinion. Again, if you put that out there, if you go to one of these message boards, don't say, I heard on 107. No, just use my name and put my name behind it because I don't want to get anybody else in trouble or mad or whatever.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair assessment, and we'll see. But, yeah, you're not wrong for thinking it could go down that path.
803-404-6100. By the way, a couple of y'all asked about G.A. Mangus. Phenomenal sit-down with him and Steven Garcia and Pat DeMarco on Tailgate Talks. I watched most of it the other day. Them talking about Spurrier. Garcia talking about wanting to transfer after the bowl game. It was some phenomenal stuff. We'll keep rolling along. We'll keep rolling along. You're listening to The Halftime Show. It is turkey season. You heard me talk about that and the fact that I posted a picture on social media the other day of a beautiful turkey from last year. Well, guess what? Your turkey one-stop headquarters, Old Tommy Meat Market. That's right. It's time to get over to one of their 3 locations, Lexington, St. Andrews Road in Irma, or the South Congaree store. Don't be one of the last ones to purchase your turkey. Then that makes you a turkey. Now, you might not need one right now. Okay, whatever. But you know what you need tonight? Just to make yourself happy. It's getting darker. You need to be happy. You need a delicious steak. Old Tommy Meat Market has that. They have the absolute best cuts of steak at the best price. Go see your local butcher. That's what makes them special. They're a hometown butcher shop. They're not a chain place. They want to get to know you. They want to get to know your name. That's why the Gunner family, Ansley, Austin, myself, we love Old Tommy Meat Market. Go visit them today and tell them Bill Gunner says stop by. I will get to these. I keep saying it. I'm going to get to these text messages. I know some of you I can't just call in. You're actually working, trying to make money so that you can afford the things that I'm saying needs to happen with the university, where I think fans have got to give more money. There has to be more of a financial commitment. Just changing coaches, isn't going to solve the issue, in my opinion, and we'll address that. Tyler texted me last night and was like, we got plenty of content. I was like, we got content for all week. Because I think there's more, in my opinion, than just, well, let's just change the OC and it's fixed. Well, let's just change the head coach and it's fixed. I think the entire thing in this modern day age of college football for South Carolina has to be completely reevaluated. I will say, I'm going to get to the phone lines. Thomas is on there. I think South Carolina fans give fine. I'm not saying that we're poor. Lord knows we do give more than Vanderbilt, but Vanderbilt's having their year, much like South Carolina had their year last year.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia Tech's having their year, much like South Carolina had their year last year. Kirk Cignetti may actually be the best football coach in the country. I don't know. I'm trying to figure that one out. That one's got me slightly baffled.
How much? And I'm glad you brought up those other coaches there. Let's look at Clark Lee, Brent Key, guys like that. Like you said, having the year, Kurt Cignetti as well, throw him in there too, where there's a realistic threat that those coaches could leave and go take other jobs. Kurt Cignetti got his extension. We'll see what's going to happen with Clark Lee and Brent Key if they get extensions or whatever. You mentioned Lane Kiffin the other day when we talked to one of our insiders saying, hey, they're going to commit $30 million in NIL to make sure he stays here so he will continue to build what he's doing at Ole Miss. Last year, Carolina had a good year, but there was never a threat that Beamer was going to leave. There was never this thought like, hey, Carolina went 9-3. Beamer may go take whatever job this is. Like, you knew he was going to be sticking around for another year. And maybe that wasn't the same type of incentive that these other fan bases have and say, hey, if we don't commit X amount, then the coach is going to leave anyway.
Well, that shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be, but I'm just saying that's a thought process that I think
also
those fan bases have.
A complacent loser mentality. Now, that's a whole other conversation for a whole other day on the fact that South Carolina finally went out and hired, while Shane Beamer did not graduate from the University of South Carolina. This is the closest thing we've ever had to a hometown son and one of us coaching.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the truth.
He wants to be here.
It was a job to Will Muschamp. To Steve Spurrier, it was about his ego and a reclamation project. To Lou Holtz, it was a reclamation project and it was about his ego and whatever he could write in a book. Brad Scott was, I don't know, and then go further back. Sparky Woods. Anyway, you get the point. Shane Beamer's our guy, and that doesn't make it the perfect fit for the program. But there's a difference there that we know. Sure. We know he wants to be here. 803-404-6100. But I say all that because I do think top down. Everything has to be reevaluated moving forward. Let's go to the phone lines. Thomas wants to weigh in on the game. Thomas, I appreciate you hanging on holding and hearing from you on a Monday. How you doing?
Man, I'm good. How you doing?
I'm great. I am phenomenal.
Yeah, man. It's a beautiful day down here in the low country. But, yeah, I'm from Columbia, so I've seen a lot of Gamecock teams. I'm kind of numb to it now. Not to where I don't want to do well. I love them, and I just don't let it ruin my day anymore. But I think right now we just have to. We're not in a great place. This season's been terrible. It seems like we gave Mike Shula the keys to a Lamborghini, and he didn't really know what to do with it. But I think we just need to be patient. I think Beamer's our guy. I think that he's passionate, and, he's just green, man. He's never been a head coach before, and, if you never been a manager or anything in a big business, you gotta learn some things. You gotta fall flat on your face a few times and learn from your mistakes, and I think he's doing that. And, this is a big decision. I don't think we need to hire any more of these NFL guys and for the offense anymore, because that doesn't really translate to the college game very well. And just because somebody's in the NFL doesn't mean that they did good in the NFL. So I think we just really need to take our time with this, and we got plenty of season left and plenty of time to make a good decision. I mean, you don't really want to hire. You can hire people all day based on their resume, but until you interview them, you don't really know what they're about, So, I've hired lots of people that have great resumes, and some of the people that are just young and starting out, they do a way better job. It's just they're hungry, their attitude, and so I think we just need to be patient and give Beamer some time, and let's get a good hire in here. We got a good athletic director now. Let him recruit, let him cook a little bit. But I'm glad he's finally putting his foot down. That's kind of been where I think his problem's been before.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're on the right track. It doesn't seem like it now, but this is a lot better than the Will Muschamp years. So I can tell you that. You can tell the difference between the whole football building when Muschamp was here to where we are now. So I think it's just a crazy game. We can, every team in America is going to have a brand new starting 11 next year. So we don't know what's going to happen.
I appreciate the phone call. And Will Scott, you're right. By the way, he's right. There's tons of time, and let's be quite honest. This is for Shane. We all agree. I mean, look, one of the things you got to retain Clayton White, and he's at $2.1 million. I mean, I think you got to retain him. I don't. He is becoming one of the best defensive coordinators in the country, and you got to keep giving him talent.
Yeah,
you got to keep recruiting him talent.
With so many jobs open, not unrealistic to say that he couldn't go take one of those.
Yeah, Lord knows you don't want to be looking for an offensive and defensive coordinator, but this is a key. This will define the Shane Beamer era, and so part of it is, does he change his philosophy? Let's see. All right, Ty, let's see here. Now, Robert, I'm going to come to you. Robert, we got about a minute and a half. I apologize for getting you here short, but a minute and a half. Go, please. Go.
Yeah, I just want to go back. You were talking about how, Shane's our boy, and he's, the closest thing we've had to hometown feel for Coach. I kind of disagree with that. I think we had one guy on staff a couple years ago, and we should have gave him a shot at least before Shane was hired, and that's Eric Kimmery. I don't know why he wasn't looked at before prior. I mean, I know coaching at Hammond's not the same as coaching the SEC, but you can't ignore what he did when he was there. Winning 12 titles in 17 years. I mean, the guy only lost 20 games in that amount of time. He goes to where he's at now and wins them their first title in 50 years. And, I mean, just hearing him when he was in town and on the radio all the time, I mean, he's very analytical and very, very smart as far as, when it comes to the game. And I don't understand why. I mean, if next year doesn't pan out for Shane, I mean, I hope he's at least looked at. I really do, because I think that's an opportunity. I'd like to see him back in Columbia. I really would. I think a lot of people would also.
Appreciate the phone call. I hope maybe as an offensive coordinator. No, go coach college. No offense to Eric. Love Eric. Great dude, super smart football coach. LSU, Florida, Auburn, they're not talking about hiring a very good high school coach out of those states. That's not the mentality. And I appreciate the phone call, Robert, and I do get what you're saying. And Eric is a phenomenal high school football coach. Stay in college, work your way up, get a job. We'll come back, get back out to the phone lines and to these text messages. Whew, what a fun Monday. It's the Halftime Show. It is 1:35 on your Monday. Tyler Head, producer Ed Bird, and Bill Gunner as we rifle through what occurred on Saturday. And Tyler, we haven't talked about the game, and I'm going to come back to all these text messages, and I'm going to read as many as I can here. A lot of y'all have weighed in, and I really do appreciate it. And I know you can't always call, and I want you to have your opinion too, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot, and it's not just one football game. It's not just one football game. It's 9 football games this season. If you want to push it out to the previous 4 years, I understand that. The facts are the facts. You can't gloss over them. You can't spin them. South Carolina now has 3 6-loss seasons in 5 years. They just announced the Texas A&M game will be noon, dead noon in College Station. A&M is going to play Missouri this week. I just told Tyler off air, don't hold me to this on a Monday at 1:36 on the November the 3rd. Don't hold me to this just yet. I'm tempted to pick South Carolina to pull the upset.
Okay.
For everything I've said, I'm tempted to. I'll give reasons why. I have legitimate. Remember, I told you I couldn't find the path. For Mississippi. I couldn't, and it played out as I saw it. It played out exactly as I saw it. Like there's a path to beating Texas A&M, and it's actually pretty acceptable. And I'm not going to get into it right now because beating A&M doesn't really do anything. Going 6-6, the only thing that you accomplish is beating Clemson, because 2 in a row, the way this history has gone, we celebrate. We will celebrate. It's sad, and I'm not trying to, but I will tell you, beating Clemson will make Christmas a million times. It will give us something in the off season.
Sure.
Okay. I don't care if South Carolina's 3-8 going into that game or 5-6. Beat Clemson, and at least Christmas is happier. You want to go see one of your Clemson relatives. Let's get to some of these text messages. Now, the previous caller, Robert, mentioned Eric Kimmerer. I was talking about Shane Beamer being one of us. Somebody said, Kimmerer, give me a break. What kind of competition did he have at a private school? Another texter says Petrino and others were excellent high school coaches. Well, you know what? If we were to go down that path for both offensive coordinator and or if you're going to really, really want to go out, how about Bobby Bentley, who's at least coached in college? Presbyterian as a head coach. Another texter says, shoot, Kimmerer at OC? Why not? Nothing else has worked. If Eric Kimmerer came here as offensive coordinator, you know what? I'd be thrilled with it. I wouldn't. Let's go to a couple. And again, we've covered a lot of topics, and I've not been able to get to a bunch of these, but a lot of y'all have weighed in. So we talked about Lenore Sellers and the bad game that he had. It was a bad game.
Yeah.
Okay, it was a bad game. We get a texter from Aiken. It says Lenore is the guy, but if he plays the way he did against Ole Miss, again, give Cutter a series. Send a message. I don't mind that either. I think that potentially that is not a bad idea to let Cutter Woods. If you believe it's Cutter Woods, I think we're all under the assumption the quiet number 2 is Cutter Woods.
Yeah, I mean, he came in at the end of the Oklahoma game, and that kind of told us, okay, that probably means he's leading the way here because Aaron Nolan came in at the end of the SC State game, I think it was, or maybe the Kentucky game, and really I think the only other quarterback we've seen since then has been Cutter Woods. So it leads you to believe he's probably number 2. And again, we didn't think we'd be at the point of even entertaining this idea before the season started, but when things are going as bad as they are on offense, nothing's off the table. Again, Beamer reiterated last night on the teleconference, no, they have belief in Illinois Sales 100%, and they should. Again, he didn't suddenly forget how to play football, but the results aren't there this year, and maybe that was just because of Mike Shula, and maybe this combination of Mike Furry and Sean Elliott can re-unlock what was making him successful a year ago. We don't know, but if the struggles continue, then I mean, what do you got to lose? If you want to try something, go for it. I'm not going to bank on that happening, but if they did it, I'd be like, okay, I see why you're doing this.
I forget. Somebody asked earlier who the quarterback coach will be now that Mike Shula's not there. I don't know to be a fact, and there is no press conference tomorrow.
Wasn't it Dirk Cutter's son?
That's
that was,
who I was.
Davis.
Is it Davis?
I think it's Davis Cutter. That it's been kind of because here Shula was kind of like an offensive assistant that just happened to be coaching the quarterback last year.
He was Dowell's assistant.
Yeah, he was Dowell's assistant. I don't know if he got the firm quarterback coach tag necessarily.
Yeah, we didn't get that yesterday. It's a great question. Shane will address it, but he's not going to address it tomorrow because there's no press conference. But I would assume Davis, you said it's Davis?
I think it's Davis Cutter.
Going to look that up. Will probably be the guy because I think he was the backup to Mike Shula.
Because we asked Shane, or somebody asked him before, yeah, it's Davis Cutter, before the season started, now that Shula was the OC, who was going to kind of fill that role, and it was Davis Cutter, and he is listed as an assistant quarterbacks coach on the website. So yeah, he's kind of acting in that role that Shula had a year ago.
Jacob weighs in, and again, I'm going to read the text messages. I'm going to let everybody get their opinion out. I think we have a discipline problem in the program. This is minor, but little things like tucking your shirt in while you play. There was a video of Nick Saban yelling at players that had their shirt tails out. Little things that create discipline. I don't disagree. It sounds stupid.
Yeah.
But Tyler, when you're not finishing games in the fourth quarter, when you're having small little things happen, when you're tackling, it sounds stupid, but yes, it all does tie together. Now, because the shirt tails out, does that mean that you muff a punt? Probably not. Does it mean that you drop a pass or miss a wide open guy? Probably not. But there are little discipline. It's kind of like when I would coach AAU, when I would coach ninth grade or varsity basketball. If your pinky toe's on the line shooting of a free throw, does it count? Yeah. No, it doesn't.
I think it is the attention to detail part, right? Where, yeah, having your shirt untucked may not necessarily contribute to what you're doing on the field specifically, but if you're walking around with your shirt untucked, are you, I don't know, giving 110% every single rep? Like, is there a correlation there? I don't know. But again, when you're at this point, with the season being as bad as it is, there's nothing off the table worth dissecting or putting under a microscope. So you're not wrong for pointing those things out. Again, do they have a direct effect? I don't know, but you're not wrong for looking at it.
I've been talking about money and how fans have to invest more money. And I'm not, that's the truth of the matter. And Rusty weighs in and says USC has to be better stewards of our money. South Carolina hired Shane with zero head coaching experience at a modest $2.25 million to learn on the job. Well, guess what? That's what South Carolina could pay. That was who you were battling with. You think it's not going to be better this time? I mean, it'll be better than 2.25. Obviously, you're paying 8 now, and that's where you got to start. You have to start.
Yeah. Well,
you have to start at 8. You have to, whomever the next guy is. Let me keep going with that text. Said Tanner raised his salary, talking about Shane, to big boy status without any other programs coming after his service. Well, you have to.
That's just the game that you play.
He says, I think most fans could stomach some growing pains for a lower salary. No, you can't. Sorry, I'm interrupting your text. And Shane earmarking those increases to better his staff, but that never happened, and only one person got the benefit of 8.125. Now, everybody has to get it. That's unfortunately the way college football is. You got to pay your football coach. You want to play the game. You want to go look for a coach this year, and you want to upgrade. You want to get a better coach. You want to compete. Starting price is $9 million. And that includes the buyout.
Yeah,
that doesn't include the staff. $2 million for the AOC, $2 million for the DC. We got to hit a break. Come back and wrap up this hour. That's the starting point. You want to play that game? You want to be competitive? You want to be a winner? There's your starting point. Halftime show. We'll yell more. It is a beautiful day out there. It's supposed to be actually a beautiful week. But what if we get those heavy rains again? Well, don't wait until then to worry about your roof. Worry about your roof today, on a day where you don't actually have to worry about getting a leak. And that means calling Mid-State Roofing today. They're there for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You'll speak with an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee, and they're there for you. Doesn't matter where you are in this great state. You can be here in Columbia, Greenville. You can be in Charleston or Aiken or Augusta, Myrtle Beach or Florence. Mid-State Roofing roofs the entire state. They actually roof the entire world. I'll explain that one later in another segment. But the bottom line is Mid-State Roofing is there for you. Family-run company ready to help your family. Call Mid-State Roofing today, 803-356-1919. It is 1:50 on a Monday afternoon as we, I think, are debating not the health, but the overall South Carolina football program now in year 5 as the Gamecocks sit here at 3-6. And I'm not trying to be critical, Tyler, but I'm pointing out facts. It is the third. Now, year 1 with South Carolina was 7-6.
Yeah.
And we all deemed that a success because we all said Will Muschamp left them nothing.
You were supposed to win, what, 2 games that year?
That was the word. Like East Carolina and Vanderbilt. I can't remember what other cupcake might have been at the end of the season.
Didn't they start off, was it Eastern Illinois?
Oh, Eastern Illinois.
Yeah.
And then at East Carolina. And again, I don't know who the other cupcake was in that season. But anyway, so maybe 3 wins. But you went 7-6 that year. You follow it up. You're sitting at 6-4, so you're going to be bowl eligible. But when you're sitting at 6-3, you're going to be bowl eligible. Let me actually back that up. You're sitting at 6-2, and you're going to be bowl eligible. And then you have this ugly game at the end of October against Missouri at home. You'd gotten ranked, and that was ugly. Like we talk about ugly offensive performances. That was a Satterfield masterpiece. And I think they got like 2 timeouts coming out of the sideline, out of TV timeouts. They had to call 2 timeouts. Like that was 23-10, and it was 10 points was a slight miracle that game. That was ugly. And then you went to Florida and didn't score an offensive touchdown. Kai Kroger threw one of his 1,000,000 touchdown passes at the University of South Carolina on a fake punt. and you get your doors blown out of the building 38-6, and questions instantly arose, and people wrote them off. They were a 3-touchdown. I think they were a 24-point underdog to Tennessee, to number 5 Tennessee at home. You'll win that by scoring 63 points. It's probably the moment in South Carolina history people are still going, oh?
Yeah.
And then you beat Clemson 31-30, and all of a sudden you go from probably have going 6-6 to 8-4. Miraculous recovery. You go play a phenomenal game in the Gator Bowl against Notre Dame, win or lose. It was fun to watch, and
you were playing with half a roster.
You're playing,
at that point. So yeah, and again, bowl games only mean so much now. So nobody was furious about losing that one.
Well, and you beat Clemson.
Yeah,
I got to be honest. You beat Clemson. We're all kind of our bowl game like, yeah, it's a cool thing.
Yeah,
okay.
Play Notre Dame. That's fun. Cool brand. Yeah,
Gator Bowl hadn't been in a long time.
Nobody was overly upset about how that went down.
But obviously, you were 6-2, and then you had the 2 bad ones, and then the 2 phenomenal ones, and you go 8-4. And you come back next year, and there's big expectations, and you open it on the road in Charlotte against North Carolina, and you go 5-7. And you got Florida beat at home. You got 4th and 17, and is it Marcellus Dial?
It was 2 4th downs, right?
I don't know.
I think because they're up by 10. I think there was 2 critical 4th downs they converted late there. Ricky Pearsall was kind of the nightmare of that game.
Yeah, anyway, you blow that. You can't finish out the season. You can't score an offensive touchdown against Clemson. Throw a backwards pass. Don't give up an offensive touchdown. Excuse me, I'm sorry. You score an offensive touchdown on a Luke Doty wild play. You can't score. You don't allow Clemson to score an offensive touchdown. You lose 16-7. You don't go to a bowl. Come back last year. You're 3-3, and the team goes blazing hot. Lenore Sellers becomes the thing, the guy. You are this year's Georgia Tech. You are this year's Vanderbilt. Indiana's become something totally separate. You are that team that everybody goes, well, how'd they do it? You are the team that Florida State says, wait a minute, if they can do that, why are we stuck here? Everybody else that should be a blue blood program is looking at South Carolina last year, much like we're looking at Vandy and Georgia Tech this year going, wait, how are they doing it? We should be that. And you come in this year with the expectations, and for the third time in 5 years, you're on 6 losses with the opportunity for more, or the chance to get to 6-6. It's a question of the program. So I said on a tweet on Saturday night, everything has to be addressed. I'm not fire Beamer, by the way. He gets another year. And I'm going to be in the very minority of this. I think he deserves another year. He's going to try and make an offensive coordinator change. As the week goes on, we'll get more into that, Tyler. Good Lord, we really got about 4 weeks on that one, 5 weeks.
For sure.
We'll talk more about that, and we will look big picture college football. You're listening to The Halftime Show. 2 o'clock on a Monday. I've yelled and screamed and gotten all fired up. And, it's telling Tyler, this is the morning. This is the difference between doing a morning show where you're trying to keep people who are just waking up. Maybe they've had a long night, didn't sleep well. Kids were up crying all night. They've been in your room, sleeping in your bed. You got no sleep. You're coming off a long weekend. You're grouchy at 6 a.m. Felt like it was my responsibility to perk people up, make them happy, talk a little food, talk a little movies. Did watch Jurassic Rebirth.
Okay, how's that?
On Peacock. Very good. Very good. Very happy. Not sure what's going to they left the door open if they want to go through one more. The incredibly ugly dinosaur, the mutant, is still roaming around the island.
There's always room for another sequel.
Always room. Good actors. Good time. Late on Saturday night. Couldn't go to bed on Saturday night. Watch the game. Watch Cincinnati and Utah. Watch the World Series. Was pulling for multiple extra innings. We got a great World Series. Best World Series I've ever seen. Some of y'all are a little bit older than me. And let me just say this. I date myself on the World Series to about 92. So if you got a World Series that was better prior to 92, you might have me. I give you that. Definitely the best World Series I've ever seen that did not include the Braves.
I was going to say, you got to take your favorite team out of that because that's obviously going to swing your bias. I would say the 2016 World Series where the Cubs broke the curse. That was
a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun, and it had so much meaning to it.
Yeah.
Where and again, I'm not a Cubs fan. I was watching it as a neutral observer like this one, but understanding that moment, what it meant to see Chicago and all that kind of stuff was cool to see.
No, that one was fun, and you had a couple good games. I think it was game one was incredible. I think that was the high-scoring game, 9-8, 8-7, 7-6, some in that ballpark, and the Cubs won. But there was a couple blowouts in that thing.
Mm-hmm. And look, not every 7-game series or every series is going to have a phenomenal game every single time. This one didn't.
Right. But, yeah, I think the 18-inning game was a classic. You had a phenomenal pitching duels. Everything. It was a lot of fun. That one went, by the way, the 2016 series. I will admit, that one to me was more fun because we were doing the program with Jen. I had just started here, actually. I believe legitimately had just started here, actually, now that I think about it. Had started on July 5th doing the show. And I believe that's right. Yeah, that's right. And so that was a lot of fun from the standpoint. There was a year with the Stanley Cup where the Capitals were in it. Well, there was the Stanley Cup with the Capitals, and there was the World Series with the Nationals in it. And Patrick Perrette was here.
Mm-hmm.
We had to hose him down the next day because he was so fired up that they had won the Stanley Cup one year and then won the World Series. I believe it was the World Series too, and settle him down. And those made those fun. But this one, there was no true rooting interest, as we mentioned. I think we all want to dislike the Dodgers as a franchise because they're evil and mean and they've won and they're awful people. Fans are K-Mac, Kevin McCreary, just bad people. I'm just kidding. K-Mac's a good dude. But they have such actually likable players, really. And you got what was his name, Yamamoto, or didn't even practice it over the weekend after he won MVP. Just throwing. All right, buddy, what do you got, a rubber arm? I think it was Blake Cooper for South Carolina in the College World Series back in the day. Just rubber arm Cooper. I think it was either Cooper or Taylor. Blake, it was a Blake, and they're just out there throwing pitches. This guy for the Dodgers, just out there. Hey, coach, I'm available. What do you need? 12 innings? Sure, I got it. Arm doesn't matter. You got him doing it. Freddie Freeman's an incredible. We all love Freddie Freeman, I think. Mookie Betts is a likable player. Kike Hernandez, likable. They're all likable.
Mm-hmm.
It's no fun. And then the Blue Jays are out of nowhere, worst to first. And they had neat players and neat storylines. And Max Scherzer's old. Clayton Kershaw was old. There's all these great storylines. It was like a fun. It was the best World Series I've ever seen.
It was easy to get invested in, even if you're not a fan of either side there. And again, we got treated to several phenomenal games. And, you know, Game 7s are special anyway. But when you can go to extras in Game 7 knowing that it could all end on any pitch pretty much, and again, for a moment we thought it ended with Toronto at the plate there, and then unfortunately for the heartbreak for them with that double play there to wrap things up. But it kept you on the edge of your seat the entire time. And again, I always like when the winning team for the series is at home when it happens.
Yeah, by the way on that.
Because that just creates an electric atmosphere with the fans going crazy and all that kind of stuff. I believe the Dodgers were at home when they hit the walk-off last year, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, something like that is always cool to see, as opposed to just the, like, dejection of a quiet crowd.
Were they?
I'm pretty sure they were.
Look, because this actually occurred to me.
I'm pretty sure they were home when Freddie hit the walk-off.
Yeah. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, they were in New York.
Oh, they were? Okay.
Yeah, because I thought about that was as they were being booed. As they were being booed, I thought about that. Game 5, Yankee Stadium. So they haven't won one at home yet, but I thought about that on Saturday night because, again, you're winning I don't know. I can't. I mean, you probably don't notice. Maybe you don't even hear there were Dodgers fans in the stadium. But, yeah, you're winning a championship, this lifetime goal for some people. For some, it's the back-to-back. And yet you're getting booed as you get the trophy and everything. I was kind of like, man, I feel bad. Like, even the Blue Jays fans should be nice and just clap. Just clap. You don't have to cheer. Just clap.
Yeah. Yeah, Canadians, you'd think it'd be polite, right?
All right. It's a South Park episode in there. Anyway, keep my job. 803-404-6100. But great World Series. I will say this. And I switched to DirecTV over the weekend. Had nothing to do
how
with
was that?
Okay, I don't like change. Anybody that knows me, change does not sit well with Gunner. Still adjusting to this show from the 6 to 9 show. I'm still working. Thought it'd be easier. It's not. Hasn't been. Love working with you.
Thank you.
You don't hit me with neither the producers nor do you chase me with BB guns or whatever Jen would shoot at me, nor do y'all cuss at me. I really it's a nicer, it's a more friendly working environment. DirecTV, the one thing I don't like right now is the guide.
Okay.
And that might be because I knew how to navigate YouTube. I could move the YouTube channels around to where my favorites were at the top and get to those pretty easy. I'm not thrilled with the guide for the Direct. And I'm using the streaming app, for those of you wondering. I'm not buying the equipment. And they do have a remote. I don't know where YouTube stands with their ESPN dispute. My personal opinion is ESPN's not backing down on this. If we want to go a long rant, I'll make it short. ESPN is a monopoly, and what ESPN's doing is completely wrong. And Google is a money-hungry, greedy bleep, but ESPN right now can force you out of YouTube, who they've got no purchase in, no say in, and they can push you to Hulu Live, where they bought Fubo TV. You can go there. I went DirecTV. They've got their contract set with DirecTV, and everybody's happy with that, and that's not changing for a while. So I went with DirecTV mainly the big reason, Bill, why'd you go with DirecTV? Because I can get the Carolina Hurricanes. I can watch the Hurricanes.
They have the FanDuel network.
They got the FanDuel network. I'll be able to get the Braves with no problem coming up in the season. It's going to be a little more expensive after 3 months. It's all good. Like I'm happy. I don't like, and it's just going to take some getting used to. I don't like the guide.
Okay,
got way too many freaking channels.
I haven't looked at a DirecTV guide in a very long time.
I put my favorites in, and then I got too many favorites. But DirecTV, perfectly fine. Very happy with it. It's going to be a little more expensive in the very long run. If you're looking to switch from YouTube TV, I didn't try Hulu Live Plus. That was the other option. I did the studying Friday afternoon because apparently I've got some issue in my life where I needed to watch North Carolina and Syracuse. North Carolina, how about that? Get to win.
I know.
They can become bowl eligible, by the way.
Crazy. And
They don't sleep on them getting bowl eligible.
Well, they darn near knocked off Virginia the prior week.
They're playing better.
They are finally playing better. I don't know. Maybe Bill will last after all. Who knows?
But anyway, had to have ESPN, had to just for some reason, and wasn't going to play around with this mess at 8 a.m. Saturday morning. Went with DirecTV. I'll encourage it. Hulu Live might be great. FUBU could be phenomenal. I know there was a Sling one-day pass for people, but yeah. And then, but I don't think ESPN's going to cave to YouTube. They have no reason to.
Okay.
To me, they have zero reason to. You can go purchase their products, Hulu Live Plus or FUBU, and they win. They win in the situation.
Yeah.
So it's just my opinion on that. I don't know. And you're right. If you have ESPN Plus, you can still watch everything. 803-404-6100. Great World Series. Absolutely just fun college football weekend. We'll talk about the actual college football weekend because there were upsets. Things are changing and evolving. The playoff it's wild out there. It's everything we hoped it would be, right?
Yeah, so far.
Okay. Where does Tyler Head put Miami? Was Tennessee, Oklahoma an actual elimination game? Is Georgia Tech still in this thing? A lot to do. And then we'll get back to South Carolina football. We've discussed that for 2 hours. You're listening to the Halftime Show. Bill Gunner for the Mortgage Guru, Jacob Crowder, and First Palmetto Bank. It is November. I don't know about y'all. I can't believe it. 11th month of the year. And right now is about the time you're obviously thinking about Thanksgiving, you're thinking about Christmas, but you might be thinking about 2026 and what you want to do with the home. You might be looking around now as you're starting to decorate and think, we need a bigger home. We need a smaller home. I want to refinance the home. I want to build a home. Well, the first phone call you've got to make to see what options are available to you, what the interest rates are, what a down payment would be, what kind of loan you would get is to the Mortgage Guru. He's been in business for over 20 years. He's been on this radio station for as long as I can remember. His career's lasted longer than most of the people that work at this station. So you know he's reliable, you know he's the best, and you know he's going to be there to help you out. He did that for me about 5 years ago. Give Jacob Crowder a call. 803-719-1005. Tell him Bill Gunner sent you. one day, we'll start the 2 o'clock hour, and I'll remember. Oh, yeah, it's Monday. Jamie Bradford joins us. But since I came back around September 22nd, I constantly forget on Monday that Jamie Bradford now joins us from 2:15 to 2:45 on Mondays. And Jamie, one day I just did put out a tweet. I'll properly put on Twitter that you're joining us today and that we're going to talk South Carolina and stuff, but that's not going to happen this week.
Jamie, in my defense, I do put it on the show rundown every single week.
He does.
Well, I wasn't going to blame you, Tyler. I was just going to say it sounds like you need to put a more memorable guest in this spot.
You're memorable. I love you. I love you.
You got to have somebody in there that's exciting. It excites you, excites the audience. Like, oh, it's 2:15, can't miss. I'm about to have a root canal. Hold on.
Yeah.
I need to listen to this segment, and then you can fix my tooth when I'm done.
I think we could put just about anybody in here. They would stop to listen to if they had a root canal. But yeah, I apologize. I'll for whatever reason, I don't know. You're memorable, and I love you.
Thanks, man.
Wouldn't have it any other way. Wouldn't have anybody else on a Monday. But one day I'll actually remember that you join us on a Monday. Well, I promised going into this. I've ranted and raved, and I'll be honest with you. We might need to get together and do our own little thing for like an hour one day, just me ranting and raving like I have about the financial issues at South Carolina and how just firing a coach and firing an OC doesn't solve everything. And we'll get to all that with you coming up here in a minute. But let me, I wanted to talk big picture college football for a second. And on a weekend where, the games kind of maybe weren't as attractive as they had been, you get the upsets. You get North Carolina State knocking off Georgia Tech. I don't know if Texas over Vanderbilt's an upset or not. I don't think it is. Texas was favored. SMU over Miami. This is the college football I think we all wanted. We might not like how we get here during the offseason, but I feel like this is what exactly we wanted.
Yeah, well, it's where we are. I mean, it's the parody of the sport now. I mean, I think that you can, when you look at the rankings too, like I think some of these rankings might not actually be indicative of who the best teams are. Like the top 10 might not actually be the top 10 teams in America in that moment. It just might be that by virtue of winning a bunch of games earlier in the year against teams that weren't very good and having that nice, splashy, shiny record, that's just where you are. And then there are some teams who, how many teams in the country have 50, 60 new players on their roster? And it takes them 6-7 weeks to get things figured out. Well, by then, they might have 3-4 losses. But it doesn't mean that they can't beat somebody because they finally get it figured out. So it's just where we are. I mean, I will say that the good thing for the sport is it dispels a lot of the stuff that we heard prior to the college football playoff. This is going to ruin the regular season. And no, it's not. That's not true. There might be some teams who throw in the towel. But, I mean, you've got a 12-team playoff right now, guys, and you got about 20 teams who are playing to get into that thing here in November. So there's a lot of games every week that matter. I mean, think about Oklahoma and Tennessee last week. We knew going into that game, that's pretty much an elimination game. So it put a lot on. It's not like they were just playing for, the Outback Bowl versus the Citrus Bowl. They were playing for the college football playoff, and Tennessee lost. So there's all these games when we might look at the rankings and think that it's not as good of a weekend, but I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I would rephrase it, phrase it another way. And the fact that there are so many teams that are fighting for the college football playoff, all these games now have the potential to be really good.
I thought the upset of the weekend, and I just gave you all those, I just didn't see Oklahoma, whose offense I thought was dead in the water. They get a defensive touchdown, but go to Knoxville and beat up on Tennessee the way they did. Tennessee had some mistakes. Joey Aguilar couldn't throw it to the right team. Maybe the black jerseys confused him. I don't know. But night game in Knoxville, they do the dark mode deal. I had Tennessee winning that, and Oklahoma gets the job done. Tyler, I'll start with you.
Yeah.
Were you as surprised? Not that Oklahoma won even in the fashion they did, but that they won the game. I know it was only a 3-point line. I get it was a 3-point line, and quite frankly, Vegas was shading everything. I think it was 3 or 3.5 in, around lunchtime, and Vegas had Oklahoma at -118 and Oklahoma at +102. And for those who don't know what that means if you had a bet they had Tennessee at -3 at +102. That means if you bet 100, you would have won 102. If you bet Oklahoma, you would have had to put up 118 to win 100. But were you surprised at that game?
I think I picked Tennessee to win, but I'm not shocked that Oklahoma's defense did what they did and took the ball away from Joey Aguilar on that offense multiple times, particularly a couple times there in the first half, and their offense was able to do enough to, and they ran all over them, by the way, too, do enough to get that win. Like, it was kind of almost a toss-up to me. I thought Tennessee was the better team, certainly had the better offense, but I'm not shocked that Oklahoma's defense did what they were able to do against them.
Jamie?
Yeah. Well, I had Tennessee winning, too, and I just gave them too much credit. I mean, who have they beat? They had beat anybody. You know what I mean? Like, they beat nobody. They score a bunch of points, but by the numbers, their defense was against SEC teams was the worst defense in the league. So when I saw the final score, I actually wasn't shocked, to be honest with you. I didn't know that Oklahoma could score enough points, but that just goes to show you defense. If you've got a good defense, man, you can still win a bunch of football games, and obviously Oklahoma has a good defense.
Miami SMU, is Miami eliminated from the playoff? Jamie, I'll start with you.
Well, no, because they can still who knows what is going to happen in the ACC. I mean, if they have to win the ACC championship in order to do it, and could it all fall apart in the ACC and then find a way into it? I think so. I mean, that league is that. What happened? I predicted this last week. Said the ACC could start to turn upside down this weekend with Georgia Tech going to NC State. I thought that was danger zone, and it was for them. And Miami going to SMU. So if we see more of that, Miami's got a sliver of hope to get in there. But as of now, no, they're out. They have to win the title.
I'll tell you my answer when I see the playoff rankings tomorrow, because that's what really matters.
Okay.
But like Jamie said, they're not in the driver's seat to make the ACC title right now, but that conference has been so topsy-turvy. Things could fall their way, and they could still make it and get in that way. They don't have any more quality games really coming up on their schedule. I think it's going to elevate them too much. They do have the win against Notre Dame early on in the year. They beat a good South Florida team. So I'm interested to see how much the committee ranks those kind of things compared to their losses and where they stand in the rankings before I can definitively say if they're done or not.
Again, we're talking big picture college football. We'll get to South Carolina in the next segment with Jamie, but there's so much to get to there. But Georgia, where do you guys? I know you said was it one of y'all just said you're going to wait till it was Tyler. You just said you're going to wait till the rankings come out. Georgia scratches claws, does everything wrong, and then wins that game. And then if you were betting on Georgia, Gunnar Stockton is now public enemy A1 after taking a knee at the 1 yard line that would have covered the spread. Is Georgia a national title contender, Jamie?
They're a national title contender. Yeah, they are. I mean, they lost by 3 points to Alabama. They went to Knoxville and won by 3 points. They scored 43 on Ole Miss. They outscored the Rebels to win or to beat them. Florida gave this thing everything that they had this weekend. You knew that they were going to throw the kitchen sink at them. I think Georgia can beat anybody on one good day. So, yeah, they are.
Yeah, look, they always find a way to win in the end more often than not, and that's just kind of a signature of a Kirby Smart team. Could I see them running all the way to the national championship? Yeah. Could I see them getting bounced in the first round? I can see that too. Yeah. You just don't really know. The defense isn't where it's been in the past handful of years, but Gunnar Stockton kind of has a little bit of the Stetson Bennett in him, where he always kind of finds a way to help the team claw out in the end when they need a play to be made, especially in the fourth quarter, like we saw on Saturday. Chauncey Bowens had the long touchdown run, so you can never count them out because, again, they just always Kirby's calling them the cardiac dogs for a reason, because they always kind of find some way to scratch it out, say for the Alabama game, even when it looks like they're up against the wall.
Ohio State, definite number one team in the country. Definite leader in the clubhouse to win the national championship. Tyler.
It's kind of one of those until proven otherwise, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I think so. I think they'll be number one tomorrow night.
Right, yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I think they will. Jamie.
Which question do you want me to answer?
Both. Well, definite. Are they the favorite? Are they the favorite to win the national championship right now? Are they the Jamie Bradford favorite? I agree with Tyler. They're probably going to be number one on the college football playoff committee. I think. But Indiana very well probably should be, to be honest, if we want to go down the path.
They got a strong case.
But anyway, Ohio State, is that the national championship favorite at the moment?
I think they're the favorite at the moment if you're talking about it from a betting standpoint. I think Indiana checks in tomorrow night at number one.
I kind of do too.
Okay.
Yeah, I do too. All right.
I think dude, they are beating the crap out of. I mean, these teams are bad. I get it, but they're beating the crap out of them, and that they got 2 top 10 wins by a combined 63 points. I just don't know that the committee is going to overlook that.
They got maybe the best. I don't have time. We're out of it for this segment. We're going to go to Carolina. They might have the best. Indiana might have the best victory over Oregon on the road. That very well could be the best victory of the year. I don't think you put Ohio State beating Texas at home over that. 803-404-6100. We'll come back and we will discuss South Carolina football with Jamie Bradford and get his take on everything. So much transpiring. It's the halftime show. I could spin the wheel of punishment right now because it's all punishment essentially, Jamie. We could talk about the actual football game that took place. We could talk about the performance of Lenora Sellers, or we could talk about the current situation and the news that occurred on Sunday with Mike Shula. We got about 9 minutes. I'll play dealer's choice. Dealer's choice. What do you want? You choose.
Well, I mean, I think that they tie in. I mean, it's probably a lot easier to talk about the future of the offense and the dismissal of Mike Shula.
Go ahead. Let's start with that. Your thoughts. 9 games in. Decision made early yesterday. I don't care if it occurred after the game Saturday night or yesterday morning. It all doesn't matter. It's over with and done with. And we'll have plenty of time to break it down with who names are and everything like that moving forward. I know J.C. Sherbert has said that Mike Furry and Sean Elliott will collaborate together on this. So your thoughts on what it does, the energy it changes, and maybe minor changes that we see?
Well, I mean, it's obviously if you're Shane, so there's two different sides of this coin. There's our side of the coin, which is media, fans, whoever, everybody else that doesn't involve the football team. And then there's the football team side, and that's what Shane Beamer has to be focused on. And that's the side of the coin that clearly he is focused on. You are trying to figure out what is best for your football team to finish the year strong. Now, it seems like a not only a daunting task, but a very unrealistic task to go into College Station and win that ball game. But that can't be your message internally, clearly. From the outside looking at it, everybody else is saying, hey, look, don't lose to Coastal Carolina and find a way to beat Clemson. And if you do that, the year is certainly nowhere near what you wanted it to be. 1-7 in the SEC is terrible, awful. You were expected to contend for the playoffs. You're not even going to the postseason. All that sucks. But you did beat your rival for the third time in 4 years, and let's get this thing fixed in the offseason and let's move on, right? So you had that was inevitable. I mean, I don't know about the timing. I mean, going into an off week seems like good timing to me. Why was it not done earlier? I'm not even going to speculate on that. I'm not Shane Beamer, and I don't run that football program, so I don't know. I have no idea. But it had to happen. It did happen. I think that you are probably going to have some energy in there that maybe they can go do something different. How much can be changed in less than 14 days? I have no idea. And then you're going to have to go out and find the best daggum offensive coordinator, no matter how much money it costs in the off season, and that will probably dictate how long Shane Beamer is going to be at South Carolina.
Obviously, we saw right away in the bowl game last year that the Shula offense was a little different, and Sellers wasn't being used in quite the same way as he was under Dow Loggins. And there's obviously an understandable period of time where you have to wait and let things progress and hopefully get better. At what point this year, for you, Jamie, did you know, hey, this offense is what it is. It's not going to get magically better, and this guy is probably not cut out for this?
Week 2. Against South Carolina State. Obviously, you saw some things in the Virginia Tech game that were concerning, but it was week 1. And then week 2, a lot of it was excused because it was played late after a rain delay and this, that, and the other. It didn't look good. It just didn't look good, man. Like, if we're being honest with ourselves, and I think that even more so when they played against Kentucky, and, that was like, week 4, game 5, and they're playing against Kentucky, and you're like, dude, Kentucky can't stop it through the air, and what are they doing out there? I mean, they threw the football like 15 times in the game or something like that. I mean, it just wasn't good. Like, they weren't attacking weaknesses. It looked like they were trying to be stubborn and doing the things that they felt like they can do, but they couldn't do them, but they wanted to continue to try to do them. And even in that win, again, obviously the defense is what propelled that thing. That was like, this is just not good. This is just not good. Of course, then you had the Alabama game where you saw some different things, and you thought, well, if they continue to build on that, And then it looked like this past weekend against Ole Miss that any time that, all the chips were in the middle of the table, or it backs up against the wall, it was comfort zone again. Well, I feel comfortable calling this. And I'm not this is nothing personal against Mike Shula. That's just who he is. That's who he is as an offensive coordinator. I mean, that's what he knows. And it wasn't going to work. It didn't work, and it wasn't going to work. And now Lenore Sellers and this offense are going to have their third different offensive coordinator in 12 games when they kick off against Texas A&M next week. I mean, if you go back to the Clemson game and you count it forward, that'll be 3 different people calling plays in 12 games at South Carolina. So what does that signify? Is that, hey, we're in a chaotic situation here. We don't know what to do. We're trying to change everything. I don't know what it signifies, but I certainly know that it doesn't look stable. So they're going to have to get it figured out, and they're going to have to probably condense this thing to what are the things that we do the best, and they're going to have to just run that stuff over and over and over and over again and hope that your best players can make big plays.
About 2 minutes left, and there's so much I want to get to you, get with you. But let me leave you with this. We don't know the answer to this. It's purely speculative. I'm putting you on the spot here. A lot of the discussion is that Shane Beamer's got to change his offensive philosophy, get rid of this pro-style mindset that he has. You got to go to more of a college-run system. Does that happen in you mentioned it. This is to save his job. He's going to get the opportunity. He's going to most likely, unless something crazy happens, be retained as the head coach. He gets the opportunity to fix it. In Jamie Bradford's opinion, does he stick with a pro-style coordinator, or does he look for a more college-esque, spread them out, spread the field kind of guy?
No, I think he makes a change, and I know that's hard for a lot of people to believe me when I say that, and I understand that. I get it. I get why people are concerned about that. I do think Shane's a smart guy, guys. He's watched this for 5 years. He knows what ain't working, and he knows that his job's on the line and the jobs of a lot of other guys. I think that they hopefully go find a young guy whose system is as you alluded to, a college system that allows you to do more with less. You've got to find a guy in a system that allows you to do more with less. Where do they go? I don't know, but more with less is so crucial at South Carolina.
Jamie, we always appreciate it. I really wanted to get to you a quote from last night and see if let me see if I'm going to read this quote and see. We're not going to have much time left, so you can use this for your show or whatever. But this is last night on the teleconference. We don't have the audio. Shane Beamer said, I know no one wants to hear it. We're not far off. We've been in the fourth quarter of games against multiple teams this year that are college football playoff contenders, and we're right there. I put out a tweet on Saturday night. It was the fourth time South Carolina's gone to the fourth quarter. Missouri, Bama, LSU, and now Saturday night, either a score down, touchdown or less, or up. I agree with him. And I'm going to have to explain that more, and I'm unfortunately giving you about a minute and 10 seconds. Yes or no on that?
I wholeheartedly agree with him. It can change so fast in college football. You can go from bad to good and good to bad in the snap of a finger now. I don't disagree with Shane at all. I think he's exactly right. And that message, by the way, that message is to everybody else. Anybody that's interested in being an OC or interested in playing football at South Carolina, that's what that message is intended for. Pay attention to us. If you could fix it, we want to hear from you. If you could be a part of fixing it, we want to hear from you. We're not down in the dumps around here. We're very close. It ain't going to take much to get us back to where we were last year, which is pretty darn close to being in the college football playoffs. I think it's the right message. It's the only message that you can send. You don't want to wave the flag and say this is a dumpster fire. You want somebody out there who's really good at what they do to believe that they could be the solution here. So I think it's a great message from Shane Beamer.
Excellent work. You left yourself 15 seconds, buddy. I'll be in touch with you later, and then we will catch up with you next Monday.
Pro radio guy, man. Pro radio
You know what you're doing. We're thankful for it. Take care.
See ya.
I'm going to ask you the same question, Tyler, when we come back, and we're going to wrap this baby up. College basketball tonight, too. It's been a serious show. Way too serious for what I like to do. Way too serious. We're yelling about money and South Carolina, and that's Tyler. That's something that I'm going to bang the harp. Bang the drum. I don't think you can bang a harp. I don't think you.
You play the harp.
Yeah, you
strum
play
the harp.
Strum the harp. Bang the drum. Some people aren't going to like it. It is what it is. South Carolina's got to invest more. Fans, president, university, the AD, board of directors. There's got to be more of an investment. The investment now is okay. Middle tier at best. But, and I think the investment's got to change. I'll say it again. I don't think South Carolina doesn't come up with $49 million to fire their coach. They don't come up with 50. I mean, and you go, Bill. Few people did. Well, guess what? That's where we're at. And I agree. The bubble's going to pop. These coaching salaries at some point. I have zero clue if it's sustainable, Tyler. I have zero clue if it's sustainable. But as I said earlier, Florida, LSU, Auburn's in the mix now. Virginia Tech. Who else is out there that I'm already forgetting about? Penn State.
Yeah.
You're trying to upgrade. You're trying to find a better coach. You want to compete for champions. You want to compete for conference championships. You want to compete for playoff berths. You want to compete for national championships. You want to coach. Oh yeah, you can go find somebody. You can go pick somebody out. You can go find the next hot coordinator. Cool. Maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't. Some work. Some don't. Right? Billy Napier was supposed to be the next hot up-and-coming guy. Did it work? No.
No, at least not at Florida.
Brian Kelly's a hell of a coach. He'll go somewhere. Didn't work at LSU.
Mm-hmm.
Hugh Freeze. Y'all remember when we wanted Hugh Freeze? Y'all were so angry South Carolina didn't go get Hugh Freeze. So angry. You weren't around for that. Oh, we're getting Shane Beamer? Why? Hugh Freeze of it. We aren't serious about winning around here. Hugh Freeze would be a winner. We're scared we might be cheaters. Why didn't we get Hugh Freeze? Why shouldn't we get Hugh Freeze? He's at Liberty. We can pay Liberty. We can battle Liberty. Hugh Freeze didn't work at Auburn. Done. Doesn't even make it to the end of the season. Shane Beamer said last night, they're not far away. Tyler, I agree, actually. I actually agree. I just said all that. I said there's got to be more money invested to buy the player. That's what it is. Buy the player. You don't have to like it, but that's what it is. To buy the players. To go to the market and buy the players. You got to buy better groceries. I agree with Shane Beamer, though. They're not far away when he says that last night on his teleconference. Do you agree?
To a point, yeah. Because, again, you've played well enough in two facets of the game this year to keep yourself in most of these games. That third facet, the offense, that let you down just about every single time. And consequently, because of their struggles, that allowed the defense to kind of fall apart in all those fourth quarters. You had an average offense this year. You'd probably win most of those games. And you're probably sitting at, 9 games into the season? Maybe you're, 6-3 or something like that. It's really not that far of a climb. Now, it's easier said than done, obviously, but you see the blueprint of where you need to be. Now, getting there is another problem. And yeah, again, nobody wants to hear, "Oh, we're close, we're close." That's what Hugh Freeze was saying as the ship was sinking all the way down to Saturday. He said, "We're so darn close, man. We're so darn close," knowing he was obviously cooked at that point in time. So that's not what people want to hear. But I don't feel like you're at the bottom of this, ravine that you can't climb yourself out of. It's possible. You just got to make it happen.
That's why this is going to be an all-week discussion, bye week. No Shane Beamer tomorrow. Means we got to work the full 3 hours. Means I got to get a good night's sleep, drink more coffee, actually work, do my job. Tyler does it every day, 6 hours.
Oh, yeah.
He's much better than I am. I'm just kind of here, just show up, talk. Usually on Tuesdays, you get a 20, 45-minute nap, somewhere in there. But tomorrow we'll do more of this because I do think money is an issue. But I do agree with Shane Beamer. I don't know if that's a complete contradiction of myself. Is it? Did I contradict myself?
I don't think so.
You can call me out. It's okay.
No, I think it's fair.
I'm not Jen. I don't hit people with Nerf guns and slap them and stuff. Don't have that level of anger. But I agree. There's 2 points. There's a lot to be made, and there's a lot to talk about this week about this football program as they go into the final quarter of the season. A&M, Coastal, and Clemson. And we're going to do it all week. Get excited. Talk to you tomorrow.